Welcome to another Traders Community podcast brought to you by traderscommunity.com. Welcome all the investors out there, the traders, the dribblers, and of course the punters. And this is a punters market. Pretty slow day on futures despite there being an FOMC movement. All the interest, at least the Traders Community, was in natural gas. It's playing out perfectly. Those cheat charts we go through hit the highest price on futures since 2008 today. And tomorrow the front contract rolls off, so that's got a bit to do with it. Plus it's weather, and the EIA report is out tomorrow. So without further ado, let's get into it. Remember, this is not financial advice. So the purpose is to help and guide and teach a little bit of what we see. Do your own research. Understand the risk you have, and remember, gamble responsibly. Did I say gamble? Well, that's what half of it is to a lot of, if you're not fully prepared. So let's get into it. We have the glorious Madavi here, and we'll go through a few of the stock trades we did. Not a lot of futures activity in this sort of market. And we have Johnny there under the desk, I believe, looking for his pen. So today, here we are. Let's see where we are right now. As far as oil goes, we're just sitting around 110. We had another EIA. Remember Wednesday, unless there's a holiday, it's always the EIA storage report. That's come and gone. We're still sitting around 110. We are at a situation where we have the lowest, I was going to say the biggest draw, but that wouldn't be correct. The lowest level of the SPR, the Strategic Petroleum Reserves, since 83, I believe. Mm-hmm. We also have had the first time ever, over 10.5, I believe it was. It's exported overseas in products and crude. So we're drawing out of SPR and we're exporting overseas where we're playing massive inflation. And it's not the fault of the oil companies. The infrastructure isn't there. We're not getting. We had our fun yesterday, which can be nice and quick today, but that's kind of what's going on. As you can see, natural gas is trading over 902. We're into July now. June rolls off tomorrow. Nasdaq 11906. S&P 3977. It almost got to 4,000 on the cash today. Got to 3999 point something. The Russell 1800 even. Vol came off today, as you can see, and as you would expect. Okay, looking at the S&P itself, not a lot really to share. Remember, and so the point is, you don't have to always trade. Do not force it in a continuation pattern. If you are an options trader, that's a good time to collect premium. But do not force it. Do not force a trade in a continuation. And clearly that's what this is, right? This is your 60-minute chart. You can see what's going. And you can see these spits that we talked about yesterday. They're just failed breakdowns. And now we got a failed rally. We came up to test this breakdown here. We couldn't quite get there. Got pretty damn close. Then we talked about last night with the gap. We filled that, obviously. And so we've closed right around here. Minus 5/8 to plus 5/8. So a decent move. 8/8 move right there. If you look at daily, you can see that, like I said, we're just sitting above that tanking, and that holds, which is 39.53. We're spinning, and then you got that channel underneath it. So you can see the pennant forming there, the continuation thing. Keep it simple, punters. Again here on the green on the week. Will this be the week it actually stops falling? It's been 7 weeks straight. The record's 8, I believe. So let's now move on to the mighty Nasdaq. We got Madavi here. What do you think of the Nasdaq? You're pretty quiet on that too today, right? Madavi, you there?
Yeah, man. Yeah, right here, buddy. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Yeah, I mean, the Nasdaq's basically floating around this area trying to show that it's got some strength left, but like it's just couple down, then we get a little up, looking for a step down. These stocks are all breaking down like we thought they would. and it's just kind of where we're at with news coming in. I'm surprised we rallied like this today, but take the good with the bad.
Yeah.
But it's a really choppy lately, but I think we'll start picking up. And because it gets choppy when you see fear. People start getting scared, don't know what to do. That's when the chop comes.
Yeah, and they're scared both ways. The greed kicks in, so they're scared of not getting them cheap, and then the fear kicks in. They start panicking. Yeah.
Here's a hint for you guys: the darlings are all selling off. NVDA was like the super dude. Now it's not. That's even selling off.
Yeah, and that just had earnings today, which we'll go through in a little bit. But
look, Snow was like the most crazy IPO ever. It came around like 300 points on IPO day. That best management ever, elite. Now look at it.
Yeah, total dribble marketing. If you want a dribble epitome of what dribblers fall for, it's Snow. And I read somewhere when it was at its lows today after earnings, no one is in profit. In other words, it's the lowest price it's been since the IPO. So
here's another thing: is people the money to buy and stuff. There was a program that used to come in there and buy these dribblers and everything. It's all done, So there's nothing going to come help lift these things back up right now. There's no more appetite for.
Right, I think that's key, the appetite. Unless there's a takeover, which you're seeing a few of, but who's going to buy some of these dribbles, right? So what's interesting today is we say that the punters and dribblers were in play today. The Russell was the most up today, up 2%, and the S&P Midcap 400, which is basically mid-caps that are better quality, was up 1.9%, whereas the other stuff weren't up as much. So you can see that. That's a pretty good idea of the punters and dribblers. So just looking at this, one thing you need to know on this NASDAQ weekly, where we're having all this sideways is at 50% of this move, right, from April last year. In other words, the, what did we call it, the COVID stuff, all the way up to here. So we're at 50%. Now, most volume's done up in the highs. Sheep follow sheep. So we're very heavy here. So let's like that comment on Snow, a lot of people are underwater. So keep that in mind. That's what Madavi's saying, right? How much money is out there? Okay, so that's your daily, and you can see, so this is the 50%, this minus 1/8. Okay, let's have a quick look at other stuff. Where's that Russell chart? So you can see what I'm talking about. See on the weekly, that's the first time we got a green spug in the Russell. And remember, small caps are usually the last to react, right? Just think of the nature of it. So that's green while the others were green a few days ago. So just think what that's telling you. Okay, let's move on to, I think bonds should be on here. So you can see yields are stagnating down here. What's interesting, we had the minutes, and the minutes was the thing that used to get really active. And you can see there's basically no action in the bonds today, right? So we're down here at 2.75 for 60. I mean, inflation's in fuego. It's when you look at this natural gas chart. That's the reality, right? You got to eat, you got to drive to work, you got to heat or cool your home. Don't forget, energy is used for electric cars, gasoline cars, for heating, whatever, making plastic. So when you look at this chart, right, that's oil. Oh, oil. Oh, man. Everyone talks about oil, right? They don't talk about the next one I'm going to show you, but we're just sitting over here around 110. Remember what's going on off that tanker. Now, look at this little beauty. If I find it. Did I have two weeklies? That's never good. So if we go to a daily on this, look at natural gas. So today we traded almost to 940 on Julian. We've rolled, right? So sorry, we expired the other one. So remember we said this could not be a 3 when we got down here, and look, so that was a pretty easy dollar on Natty we gave you there. For those who are looking, it's a dangerous punter. And remember, you got to be tight. We showed you that chart of AA. As long as it's working, it's a little bit different. A lot of these guys make money. But look at this chart, right? And now this is a lot to do with very shocking policies we've talked about. So basically, we're increasing exports. We don't have the production. We go into summer. Every year, you'll always hear that winter's going to be colder, summer's going to be hotter, right? So you got all that going on. So there's your levels on that. You know them. The high was plus 4.8. So those it was a really nice short today of 50 cents or so. So it goes both ways. This thing is violent and fast though. So this isn't for the faint of heart. Dribblers beware, this little bastard, right? Oil, we just showed you. We don't want to spend too much. Let's have a look at the dribble sector. So here we have Bitcoin doing its weekly. Well, they're doing an hourly level. Did anyone look at it today? Does any of us care? Probably not. So that's that one. I want to actually, on a different chart, because we have Ethereum on it. So if we look here, there we go. So what's interesting, Bitcoin has been in sequence with Nasdaq, right? Look what it did today. This is a 60-minute chart. Bitcoin pretty well didn't do anything today, Madawi. So before it's been going up with it. So the speculators are obviously burnt all around, or as you'd say, running out of gas, right? So we have that. Commodities, we looked at gold yesterday. It's just doing its stuff around it was off a bit today with the buck, as you'd expect, and it's just hanging around that 50. It needs to, you got all this heavy resistance here, the Tenkan and the Cajun. We know where the support is, 50, then the cloud. Okay, easy peasy. Let us have a look at a few stocks that come out. We're not going to spend we went overtime yesterday. So when is one? We talk about takeovers. This came out yesterday. That's settling in a congestion phase after yesterday's pull up. Then we got
TSVT.
Today's one we want to show you, Valvoline. So you're going to get a lot of these, and we're going to walk you through how we handled it. And if you go to Traders Community, there's actually a good story on this one. It's about Aramco. And I'll find that and share it with you just quickly. So you can see what happened here. So the news came out. It was I think WSJ carried it first that Aramco was interested. Remember, there's been a bit of activity in this lately. Of different things they've been doing, small acquisitions, change of the company. So it exploded, and remember, you don't chase. Actually, if you get it early, you can chase. But if not, look where it was, plus 2.8, plus 3.8. So what we did actually was short this on the play back down. It's Valvoline. There's plenty of shares available, obviously. So here's a good story on it. I'll share with you. Go to the website. You'll read all about it there, what it's all about. Right? So about Valvoline, about Aramco. Now, the reason we shorted also, you got a US company versus a Saudi company. You can only imagine in this environment that being passed, let alone all the other things like national security. So to us, that seemed a fairly good, easy, pretty straightforward short, fundamentally and technically. Actually, while I got you here, you can get on here and read all about today's oil report. So the SBR, the lowest since 87. I think I might have said 83, so it's 87. We also had Germany came out with the consumer sentiment near an all-time low. What would you expect with the war stuff, inflation? And we have every day, don't forget, we have these market wraps. And today, where you can catch up on everything that's gone on. So we try to get as much news on there in economics, fundamentals. I mean, it's a pretty good wrap. And tomorrow, we're going to have natural gas. Remember, it's Thursday. So you'll find that on here. They've got Who's at Davos. That's going on in the background as well. Okay, so you got all that. As far as sectors go today, It's a good one. Jump on the Spider site. So it's all the S&P. Things you can see today, there was only 2 down. Healthcare and utilities. Consumer discretionary, the big winner. Energy, again, of course, pulled up by all this. It's got a list of who the biggest, strongest were. So Best Buy and Bath & Body Works were the strongest into it. You can see some of these had earnings, but most of them are consumer discretionary. That's just been getting smashed. So have a look at that. You can see a lot of them are bouncers. So NVDA, interesting, was up 5% before today's report. And back down, you can see all the housing numbers. So anyway, that's a useful little tool if you just want a quick overview. We do put a copy of this on the overview. I think that's about it. As far as tomorrow goes, let's have a quick look what we got coming out. Today there was basically durable goods and mortgages, which slackened off as you would expect, right? So if we go on here, so you got pretty well everything you need to know on here, and at the base of it, you got what's coming out. So tomorrow is what? What is tomorrow? So you had, by the way, you had the New Zealand Central Bank, as we said, raised their rates, so 50%. So tomorrow you're going to have the US GDP, initial jobless claims. You've got Brainard. She's been talking already tonight, and it's probably, I just saw a headline go by, it's probably a preamble of this digital assets and future finance before the House. You've got, I don't know why she's talking there, PM Arden speaking at Harvard. That's probably going to turn into a political manifest if I know her. You got the minutes from the Mexican Central Bank. Remember, they raised as well. Canada's got the retail sales, Singapore industrial production. You've also got a rate decision out of Turkey, and they're expected to keep it at 14%. You've also got rates out of Hungary. Let's look more specifically in the US. We got no Fed. Oh yeah, we don't. That's next Thursday. And so tomorrow's going to be this. As I said, with GDP, the deflator there. Pending home sales is another one. Of course, natural gas. And we have a 7-year, 42 billion auction. We had an auction out today. I think it got like a C minus. The lower end. They seem to just want the longer term one, so it gives you an idea of the safe haven. So that is about it. So everyone, love us and leave us. If you, anything else you want to talk about? So we got
good. We did our Nordstrom deals. Got out. We did our NVDA.
Yep. So that what the video is tomorrow is probably going to be a big dictator to the market. But you can see in a market that's been such a long bull market and most people aren't used to it, they still always buy the dip. So basically when a bear market's over generally is when the fear of missing out gets overtaken by the fear of losing. It's all psychology, right? So the more the money gets scareder and scareder is the best way to put it. So don't forget, hit the like button, smash the subscribe button. That's the one we're looking for. Share with your friends and all that. If you find it useful, have a great day. If you're a natural gas trader, you're probably sitting on hot eggshells. Is there hot eggshells, cold eggshells, whatever they are. Anyway, see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining us. Johnny couldn't make it. I think he still hadn't found his pencil case or something.
Johnny's here. Johnny Wadley's right
he's here now. So you found your pencil case. Anything to add?
I was going to actually have you, before you got off, with the SPOOs going in, kind of go over that chart with what's happening right now.
Oh, you mean the one we went through when you were under the desk?
Yeah.
So what we're going to do, so we're setting up a GoFundMe account for Johnny to get a watch. We're working on that. But the trouble is he's got his eyes on this Rolex. So anyway, so if we looked at, remember, overall we started weekly on Natty. What's it bloody called? SPOOs. So we know, let's say we're a bulls, small chance, 7 or 8%, maybe 11% chance that this thing is an ABC some miracle happens, it goes to new highs. For that to be, this would have to be A, B, C. This would have to be a 4. That's pretty unlikely. Most likely what this is an A, we do a B in 3, then we crap down in a C. So that would mean that the really, really long bull market, so this might take a long time to do it, is in play. If this is the end of the market in total for a long time, which it can be as well, then what we're going to do is get 1, 2, 3 sharp, 4, 5, 6, and it's just going to keep going down in 5 waves. That's your obliteration. You see people with charts, all over town with that. That's what happened in 2008, 2000, COVID, all those things. When it goes, it goes. You should be aware of that by now.
Can you show that time the EC part?
What was that? Dude, you're coming in and out. I can't really Are you...
Can you show me the level where you can see if we go up, go down?
So that's your overall weekly, right? So they're big levels. They're hundreds of points. So we break it down. So we're going to get down to the small minutia so you can manage it better. So we had that double. Remember what we had, right? Remember that? The double bottom. It couldn't go any lower. So that completed that wave. So this is breaking it down what you just saw on the weekly. So now we got the Tankin. This is the key. It spins around it. 39.52. We're at 39.56. Right? Remember we talked about yesterday the Tankin usually always does 2. So we got this going on. Right? Now, as long as this holds, this can rally all the way back to here, believe it or not, mathematically. 41.64 without much drama. But that's 160 points. So shit, that's pretty hard. So it's unlikely, right? But you got to respect it. What it needs to break down is to get back under all this. See this? So 52 and back into this channel. Where is that right now? 14, right? So it's all nice and tight, which is good. So if we want to then break that down even more, depending on your risk, you come to your hourly. So remember yesterday we had this gap. Remember I refused to short it until the gap got filled. Remember that? So that gap, look at this. These machines is what they look for. Here's the gap, right? You see where it filled? Right there. But it was still only 4/8. And then we came down, and then we see how we keep spitting the Cajun? These spits are more powerful. This is why I don't sell breaks. See all the false breaks? Right? You got all this going on. So what we did today, see this high of 4,000? This is where we went short, because you'll see why when we go to the shorter one. So this is hourly. So over here on hourly, you see all this resistance, support. This is what's relevant. Why is it relevant? This is where people are. This is where options reside, right? So there's a lot of size there. So it means it's got to get through it all, the natural buying and selling. And it failed. So now, what did we just see? 1950. So now you can see that 1958's here, right? So it gets you tighter and tighter, you see? And then you can do this. You can do a line. Not what I'm talking about, Johnny. You can do a line right here. And that shows you the support, right? So look where it comes in. So you got all this support, 39.20. Now remember this on the daily. Just way right or down, right? That's at 39.20. See the Tankin? See how it all works up? Now you go to your 5 minute. I mean, people like Roman go all the way down to ticks. If you're a scalper, so I'm not really a scalper, because I think there's bigger. So now what you look, remember I shorted this today? I didn't do, if you recall basically what I did, punters, was we shorted for that gap this morning. And Madavi basically did the same thing, but on NASDAQ. Kind of did the same thing. So before... So we shorted, we covered half our position before FOMC, the event risk. So you took half that profit. and then you waited for a good sell, basically. So we saw this spit, attempt at 4,000. It was a plus 1/8, plus 2/8. It could not get to 4,000. You can see it was also overbought on occasion. Remember, you put all this together in Nova Wave. And then, so in other words, a lot of dribblers, they think you sell here on Ichimoku. Oh, support's gone. Oh, yeah, really? So anyway, it's all relevant. So here was a short. What's interesting, the Tankin kept it down all the way to here. Obviously, it bottomed out here. There was nothing really to buy it off other than this break. So your first buy was when it came back and tested the Tankin and went back over. See that? But remember what I'm talking about, continuation. So this is, you got to know your patterns as well. So this is down. You got a sideways flag. It breaks out the bottom of this. It should be a nice short. Continuation of the short you have up here. And this is an easy short, right? Because you can protect it with your Murray math.
Well, that's where I just got out of. I just came out of that. And
Yes. So now this is a sideways trade. So this is a flag. Remember, America's done. So when the S&P closes, it gets very thin overnight. And algos just run it up and down. So a lot of people don't trade once. So most people actually don't trade once the main market's shut. Particularly hedgies and stuff. Unless it's like, extreme news or something like that. Because of that, like if you just, you've traded long enough to know what I'm talking about. So that's your levels. So on the downside, you got all this support. You can see it on the 5 minutes, right? Upside, you got this resistance from today's high. Remember what we just looked at? All the way up to 424, something like that. But it's all maths, remember. You can't, everyone's got an arsehole. Everyone's got what it is? Everyone's got an idea like something like that. I've probably stuffed it up, no doubt. So you want to keep it mathematics. Obviously, the more overbought it is, unless it's a break. So if we go back to the hourly, this really stood out, that this is a continuation pattern. But you don't preempt it. You want it to break. So you sell off resistance, which was at plus 2/8. You want to be selling here and buying here in a perfect world. So you want to be short before it breaks a line. That's where a lot of people make the mistake. So they short here, and then they give a stop. Where do you put the stop? If it keeps correcting, that's fine, but it doesn't always. Does that help you? Explain it good?
So yeah, down at the bottom of the plot, I look at 1 minute and 5 minutes. On the 5.
Yeah, so 1 minute will give you the same thing but faster. And so what you're looking for, but you can see in a continuation, this 1 minute's telling me why the F am I trading? Look at this chop. So a scalper, these blokes who only go for 5 handles and risk 2 or whatever, they're going to get chopped all through this. But you can see, so this is blowing up what we just looked at. Right, so it's the same grid. Yeah, I mean, I'm not trading in this. I would suggest anyone not trading this. Continuation ways. You don't have to. You never have to.
I'm short, so I'm just...
Well, you're going to have positions and all that. I'm just talking about scalping, and you don't want to. It's just really hard to chop, and people end up with a bad position because they get sick of getting stopped out, right? See, I mean, it's pretty steady though. Look at a chart like this one. Look at that natty. This is a 5 minute. And remember, these points are worth a lot more than something like the E-mini. This moves like this, 880 to 940, blow people up. And it did it all in, this was fast, this bit here. Look at this. This is 880 to 920. This is big man stuff, this shit. Right? So each contract points, there's another few, there's one I don't know about, but they're the highest points out there. So you got to know what you're doing. That's why I say no dribblers. But they're pure. See? Look at how pure these breaks are, right? And look at that Cajun all the way down. So that kept you short. Remember, that was over 8.8. Look how far it's over Cajun. You know, remember all the rules, right? Just watching these is a good rule. And look, it keeps trying to bang, bang. And so give yourself a bit of room too. Don't just have it right on the line. That's where a lot of people make that. Now, here was an easy, I mean, it's only a scalp buy, but where it broke, see how it broke the Cajun? Got forwarded back by the 50, came down and held it. So this was an easy buy technically. It's only a 10-cent buy, but you can see using all your rules, right?
So as soon as it's crossed over.
Well, there's multiple things, right? You got to put them all together. You got to understand Ichimoku, you got to understand Mari maths, and you got to understand the pattern. That's what Nova Wave is, right? So it's trading at time and price. If you trade latent, it's where most people get Ichimoku wrong. And definitely, look, I can tell you this: I would never hire a bloke ever whose whole thing revolved around things like RSIs and MACDs and crossing things, because that's all after the event. So you're giving up so much time, and the machines are already in. And so what made a lot of people think they actually can trade is this insane bull market, right? Money just chasing money. And what happened when it all ran out, right? So in that situation, that sort of stuff looks like it works. But when you got to give up so much price to find out you're wrong, it's not a good thing.
Out to listeners.
Sorry, mate?
I heard you're going to send out a book to listeners who...
A book?
Yeah.
Mate, I'm just learning how to write. Fuck. I didn't know I was writing a book. What, mate? I was going to do it in Estonian. How about that? That'll take me about 50 years.
It's a tablet.
Like Moses, you mean?
Yeah. All right, buddy.
Okay, mate. Well, thanks. They're good questions, though. But the important thing is, remember we had that dribbler in here that all of a sudden somehow knew Ichimoku in like freaking 3 days and sold it all, knowing he did, to his punters. That, you know, it's some of the, and there's like people I know. I think you might have been talking about I was going to bring someone in, a friend of mine who's really good at it, but she's rescuing cats right now, so that's another story in itself. But she knows this stuff better than it. Not the Murray, but the Ichimoku. So what you want to do, the reason, look, there's no perfect system, so you want to increase the probability that your bet is right? And that's what it is at the end of the day. No one's perfect. You're not God. You're not Nostradamus. So you want to lower the level of risk or increase the probability, however you want to put it. So that's basically the system. And that's why I'm always big on stress. Where you stuff up is when you override the system, right? So it's kind of like if you want to take an audible or something in football or something, or like, you know, someone like Michael Jordan going against the play because he sees something, that's one thing. But you got to be an experienced, very good, disciplined trader to be able to do that. So the majority, you get a system, you sit on it, you find a commodity you like. Some do not. Each commodity, or being a stock or oil or whatever it may be, or a currency, they all have their own possibility and therefore their own personality, you know, the makeup, and you got to max that with that. It's almost like getting married, right? If you married to the wrong woman, it's not going to work out. We all know that, right, mate? And you might try to mix it, but if it doesn't match, it's like oil on water, right? Oil on vinegar. Is it oil on water or vinegar on oil? Whatever it is. There is that expression. So you got to find what, like I don't trade the natural, the freaking Nasdaq. I don't think it's value, and the way it moves will upset my other ones. I don't trade the British pound for the same reason. And there's no point. What you don't want to do is adapt yourself unnecessarily at the expense of other things. Once you find your niche, you stick to it.
Right.
Right?
And
you stick to it.
The Nasdaq is starting.
Well, you might really be suited to the Nasdaq. You might be more suited to the S&P. You don't know. Madavi loves the Nasdaq. It suits his style of trading, right? I prefer the S&P. I like liquidity. But then on the other hand, I like natural gas. So, And that's another level of nutty, right? So it all depends what that personality of the market's. And they do have a personality because it's a mixture of all the participants, and all the different things. And you just get used to it. If you trade something well enough or long enough, you see patterns, right? You watch Madavi trade certain stocks. Once they start moving, he knows all the tricks of the market makers, everything, way better than what I'll ever know, right? So people have a knack of picking that up. Others don't. Most people in stocks have a preconceived idea, bullish or bearish. 95% of them bullish, unless they're and so they ignore everything else. So most of those people do not understand technical analysis. They just look for something that they think justifies their idea. So we don't have. So if I'm bearish, it comes down from weekly, daily. It's telling me all that, right? Then I mash up the fundamentals. Does that make sense?
Yeah, could you look at
I don't have a preconceived view. Look, if I'm watching the Roosters play, I want them to win, right? But I know if we're in a rebuild, we're not going to win, right? Same thing with anything else, right? If I love that, if that girl, that hot check model over there in the bar, damn, do you think she's going to have an interest in me? Same mentality in stock. You got to be realistic, and you got to be unbiased, unemotional. Probably two shocking examples, but I'm trying to humanize it.
Could you look at the SPOOs real quick and see it's popping up?
Dude, the SPOOs is live right in front of you. It's on the screen right now. I have it up for you.
Pull it up. Scroll.
It's right there. That's the whole thing. You got the 5-minute chart. I got the whole.
It's starting to head up toward you said it.
Yeah, it's just flicking over this 5-minute tanking, right? I think you had the one up earlier. So you can see, but look at it. It's just, to me, this is just unnecessary waste of time when your mind and body should be resting. And this just increases anxiety trading. We are 6 o'clock at night. You've traded all day. I don't, that's my view on it. Unless you have an algorithm that's doing it, I don't bother, right? I have, but I'm a big fan, if you've noticed, of taking breaks and, because when it's on, I'm pretty aggressive, right, and go hard. But when it's not, you kind of biding your time. You can see it. See how it's just chopping between this thing? This is 1 minute. So, bro, there's no real power. But if the algos have any power, they're going to try to get this up. So if I'm an algorithm, I know, and remember, it's until the market goes bearish, it's still got all that data from everyone trying to buy dips, right? It's built into it. So think what the machine's doing. Like it's all AIs, machine learning, stuff like that. But,
to bounce back or...
So, okay, I'll say it one more time. No one is trading this market right now other than machines or junkies, right?
The machines are...
Right? That's all it's trading. So there's no follow-through unless there's an event, a catalyst. I don't know. Something goes down, war or something, someone warns after the market. We're already 6. We have 1 hour left of the stock market. All the earnings are out. So it would have to be some geopolitical thing more than likely, right? Macro event. So it's reacting to very thin things that can move markets. But yeah, I think I've been pretty clear. This is a corrective pattern, and I recommend not to trade it. If you have a swing, i.e., like we do, right? So A, B, C, that's what we're expecting, right? This to continue down. So that's 80% chance probably of breaking down.
Awesome.
Right? A, B, C. But yeah, so what happens, you get monks, and these people that trade minute by minute, they forget this factor. So they buy it, and then they're running into all this. Or if they sell it, like we're talking about today, remember I said there was all those puts down here, 39.50? You just had to look at the OI board, and so it was going to be a bloody miracle to get under all this today, right? I mean, you just got to think of how much buying or selling has to be done, right? It's a big animal. It's a big moving beast, and that's why I always say look at the what do you call it, Madovi? The bloody
Yep.
the VIX, and all that sort of stuff. You want to look at sentiment. I mean, every now and then pop on things like Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, that sort of stuff. There's software that read what the dribblers are going on about. The ones that are never wrong, right? That don't trade. But that's sentiment, though, right? Because they're trying to say what they want you to hear. That's kind of perverse. It's a poor man's Kardashians. On that note, we were going to finish this about freaking 40 minutes ago. So I'm going out with natural gas. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Good questions, Johnny. Great stuff, mate. We will see you probably tomorrow. Remember, it's Natural Gas Day. It's going to be hot. It's going to trade violent. And we will see you tomorrow. Hit the like. What's the thing you say? Smash the subscribe.
Smash, kill.
So the French for the day is c'est la vie. Au revoir.